Marlins Park in Miami, Florida. The New York Mets play the Miami Marlins. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Buick. Experience the new Buick with a test drive at your local Buick dealer. By Geico, over 75 years of savings and service. By Nissan, get to Nissan for big model year-end savings on the last of our 2018s. Shop ChooseNissan.com today. And by Purple Bricks, whether you're buying or selling your home, go to PurpleBricks.com and save yourself from real misery. Well, there's no misery here. The beach beckons. You know, we have beaches in New York too, but there's not much else to show in South Florida, so we love to show you the beach, especially the dog on the beach. Miami Beach, you know? And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Miami. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets open an 11-game road trip with the first of 3 against the Marlins. The Marlins made news today, slugging first baseman Justin Bour traded to the Philadelphia Phillies, so the Phils get another important piece for their stretch drive.
Well, we said when the season started and we saw the Phillies, or the Mets played the Phillies home and away, that they needed more offense. Well, they went out and did that. They went and got Asdrubal Cabrera from the Mets, and now Justin Bour, who's going to give them a big power bat from the left side of the plate. But they've got Santana, who also they gave a lot of money to, that is not having a great season, but basically the same kind of season that Bour is having. I don't know where Bour fits in there.
Probably mostly a left-hand bat off the bench to help the Phillies down the stretch. Meanwhile, the Mets are getting a look at a piece who might be part of their future or might just be part of the present. That's Austin Jackson, who's off to a great start playing center field.
Well, I got him from the Giants, released by the Giants, DFA'd I should say, and 31 years old. This is a team looking to the future. But, you know, in the 11 games he's played here, he's hitting .438. They said his defense was kind of falling apart, or fading a little bit. Well, he's played good defense. He's got a couple home runs. He's done a heck of a job, driven in 8 runs in those 11 games. So they're going to give him a lot of playing time. And
he'll be out there tonight behind Zach Wheeler, who tries to win his 5th straight start. 4 straight he's won for the first time in his career.
Well, I know it's a big controversy whether to trade Wheeler or not at the deadline. I was very hopeful the Mets would hang on to him. I really feel that Zach has finally figured it out and could be a big piece for the future for the Mets. A big 1-2-3 punch out of that 5-man rotation. He has pitched wonderfully since the 1st of June.
Pitching the best baseball of his life right now. He's always pitched well against the Marlins, and he tries to keep that going tonight. Mets and Marlins from Florida. All the action on SNY. Icons and features such as the MLB.TV Game of the Day, pitch tracking, in-game highlights, live game radio broadcasts, stats, news, and more. Download MLB at Bat today. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by the State Farm agent of the game, Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat at patcawley.com. By Budweiser, the legendary lager for legendary moments. And by Good Humor, the official ice cream of the New York Mets. The Coca-Cola Value Pack, starting at just $15 per ticket, is a great way to enjoy a Mets game at Citi Field. Your Coca-Cola Value Pack includes a Mets game ticket, a Nathan's Famous hot dog, and a Coca-Cola soft drink. Purchase your Coca-Cola Value Pack starting at just $15 today at Mets.com/value pack. Here's the Diggin' Deep performance presented by New York 811. First Major League Cycle in 2018 went to Mookie Betts. However, the Red Sox lost the game. The first Red Sox player to hit for the Cycle in a loss since Carl Yastrzemski in 1965.
Big Yaz.
Betts having an MVP type season. Red Sox, despite the loss, are 46 over 500. Mets and Marlins, first pitch coming right up. Fourth, when the Mets take on the Nationals at 7:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Mets t-shirt courtesy of Taiwan Tourism. Purchase tickets at Mets.com/tickets. Geico Mets starting lineup for tonight. Ahmed Rosario back in the leadoff spot again, 17th time this year, despite his 4-for-46 slump right now. Brandon Nimmo coming off 3 doubles in the Mets last game on Wednesday. Hits in the 5-hole behind Michael Conforto as the Mets go up against Jose Urena for the 3rd time this year.
Well, Urena won 14 ball games last year, was the ace of this staff, and this year has just been blown up on him. 3-11, didn't win his first game until June 5th, and that wasn't a good start. He started the year 0-7. They say he's lost his breaking ball, and he doesn't walk people, but does not have a secondary pitch and gets kind of tattooed on his fastball. And the Jeep Marlin infield, starting infield now with Bohr gone. Dietrich is now going to start playing most of the first base. Martin Prado, an injury-riddled season for him. He's playing third base, and in the outfield, Brian Anderson, of course, the right fielder, a serious consideration for this year's Rookie of the Year.
Well, Don Mattingly's team started today as the lowest home run hitting team in the National League, 94 home runs. They lost 19 of those 94 home runs today by trading Justin Bohr to the Phillies. And, you know, it was an interesting deal because Bohr is under control for 2 years after this. But Derek Jeter, since he's taken over the Marlins, has made it quite clear he wants a more athletic team, and Bohr did not fit that profile, and they felt as though they want to go in a different direction.
Well, it seems like the Mets are going in that same direction. The Mets want to get also more athletic.
Ahmed Rosario takes inside, and we're underway. Rosario's average down to 230 with this 4 for 46 stretch that he's in. And Urania fires low, 2-0. It's been an odd year for Urania. Part of his one-loss record has to do with the fact that he's gotten less run support than any pitcher in the major leagues, but he has been very up and down, and his last 2 starts exemplify that. His last start in Philadelphia, he went 5 innings, gave up 6 runs, 8 hits. The start before that, he threw 6 scoreless innings and allowed 1 hit against the Nationals. So go figure. That's lined into center field, and Rosario's got a leadoff hit.
That is not only lined to center field, that was ripped. That was a bullet. Well, they just say that he's lost, that Urania's lost his breaking ball. And he just throws a lot of fastballs. And, you know, in the major league level, if you don't have a secondary pitch, I don't care how hard you throw.
Now Jeff McNeil making his 12th big league start. Took an 0-for on Wednesday. And teams have begun playing a shift against McNeil very early in his big league career. This is a bit of a modified shift in that you have 3 infielders on the right, but the third baseman playing in.
Well, I think that more teams maybe now, or if you want to play that real strong extreme shift and you're leaving that third base, if you put Prado at third base over in the shortstop's position, even if you played him on the cut of the grass, you can still put a bunt down the third base line and walk to first.
Prado moves back a stride with 1 strike. McNeil hitting it even 300 through his first 40 big league at bats. Off speed pitch into center field, and right there waiting for it is Sierra, and he puts it away for the first out.
This is still one of the bigger parks in the National League, even though they brought the fences in. You got to hit one here to get it out.
It used to be 418 to center with an 11.5-foot fence. Now it's 407, and the fence is far lower.
392 in the gap in right center field, and it looks 386 in left center field. Those are serious gaps.
The best place to hit a home run here, even though it's 344 down the left field line, you've got a low fence into the home bullpen, and that's the place to go. Here's Wilmer Flores.
Well, if you're a left-hand hitter, Gary, it's a tad better. 335 with a low fence.
That's true. Don't see many hit down.
I know.
Right field line here. 7-foot fence into the corner. Wilmer 0 for his last 9 after back-to-back 3-hit games, and he takes a strike from Urania. Mets have seen Urania at his best. Remember last year he threw 6 scoreless innings against the Mets early in the season, carried a no-hitter into the 7th. One time they faced him this year, they got 3 runs in 5 innings against him. That was here in Miami in April, and he blows a fastball by Flores 0-2. But Urania was so good last year that he won the opening day starting assignment this year. Last year 14-7, 3.82. Strangely enough, his walks are down, his strikeouts are up, his home run rate is down from last year, so you'd figure that he'd be better overall, but it's gone the other way.
Whenever
I was inconsistency.
Sorry, Gary. Whenever I look at splits, by splits, folks, I mean right-handed, left-hander, how a hitter hits against righty-lefties, pitcher pitches against righty-lefties. When I see left-handers hitting 11 of the 15 home runs against him, I'm not seeing a good breaking ball out of the pitcher. He relies on that fastball and doesn't have the secondary pitch. So we'll see how this all transpires tonight. The Mets certainly have 3 hitters, left-hand hitters in the lineup tonight.
Michael Conforto waits on deck. Mets have been encouraging Rosario to run more. Not going here, and it's flared on the right side. Dietrich in fair territory reels it in for the second out. So Flores retired 2-away.
This is Dietrich's 7th game at first base. Most of his playing time has been in left field this season, but now with the trade of Bohr, he's been thrown into that first base spot.
Well, the Marlins still have Garrett Cooper on the disabled list, the former Yankee, former Brewer. He's been out with a wrist injury. They expect him back in a couple of weeks, and Don Mattingly said tonight that when Cooper comes back, he'll probably play most of the first base but for the moment it's Dietrich. Here's Conforto, and he takes outside ball 1. And when they talk about getting more athletic, so they take Bohr out. Dietrich, who had been playing left field, moves to first base, and they call up Rafael Ortega, who's playing left field tonight, who's not a big prospect, but he's a more athletic, speedy player, and that's the kind of thing the Marlins are trying to veer toward.
I don't know if Ortega is the answer. I like his white shoes out there. They stick out like a sore thumb. They actually look pretty good, the white shoes.
Conforto takes a rip at a changeup and misses, and it's 1-1.
There we are. Look at that. I don't like the high tops.
The white high tops. You don't see that.
I know. That's why it looks so white out. I like the shoes, but not the high tops.
It's a nice contrast with the black socks and the white shoes.
Let's bring the stirrups back. I know it's a pain in the neck. You got to put the sanitary socks on first. Then you got to put the other socks on second. The team socks. But they look so much better. We're not playing soccer. This is good old-fashioned American baseball.
You still have a few stirrup holdouts around the game. 2-2 to Conforto.
Well, you can tell right now, folks looking at the home from your TV, we have the same picture you do with the center field camera. You can see that Urania throws the sinker. So you're going to get a sinker away from this guy if you're a left-hand hitter. Just shoot that left center field gap. There it is right there.
So Conforto pays attention, but got it a little up in the air, and Sierra reels it in, and that retires the side. They listen to you, Keith. They do listen to you.
Through osmosis.
A hit and 1 left. Zach Wheeler takes the mound when we come back. Starting lineup for the Marlins. Magneuris Sierra has been playing center field for them the last couple of weeks. Brian Anderson having a Rookie of the Year type season. JT Realmuto has had a fine year, so is Starlin Castro. They've got some pieces, but the Marlins overall last in the league in runs scored, and Zach Wheeler will try and keep him down tonight. Sierra has been working on his bunting game. They had a Juan Pierre in here working with him the other day.
Well, Garrett, you were rudely interrupted by Zach Wheeler's Land Rover numbers.
They're good numbers.
Yes, they are.
Hit weakly down to third. Frazier playing in, throws out the speedy Sierra for the first out.
Well, there's that blazing fastball, and Zach, which has always been a problem for him, is getting off to a good start, finding his rhythm. But ever since he's turned this corner, and I'm back in June, he's come out of the chute. He's always had that fastball. And now he's getting his breaking stuff over.
In fact, in his last start against the Braves, he struck out the side in the first inning for the first time in his career. So those first inning woes appear to be a thing of the past. Here's Anderson, who's really had a fine rookie season, hitting .285, 9 home runs, 6th in the league in base hits. Began the year playing third base, but has found a home in right field. It's going to be an interesting Rookie of the Year race because you've got Anderson, who's been up all year, as opposed to Juan Soto in Washington and Ronald Acuna in Atlanta, who have not. And of course, Acuna missed a month because of injury. Good slider by Wheeler, and it's 1-1.
Yes, it was a good slider. Acuna got hurt too, so he missed some time despite being called up in late April.
Soto probably has been the most spectacular of the rookies.
I think lack of playing time is going to hurt Soto more than the other two contenders.
Soto didn't help himself today in a key loss for the Nationals at Wrigley Field. He got picked off twice in a 3-2 loss.
Oh, good fastball.
Every time the Nationals look like they're making a move, they have a game like today. Split 4 games with the Braves and really let one get away today. 6 games out now behind the Phillies.
Makes me
good slider to get him. Wow. Wheeler strikes out Anderson for the second out.
Well, changeup, Garrett. I don't know if that was the changeup or the splitter. Is he still throwing both?
He is.
Which I find very odd. And
there you go.
Splitter. That has made him. And that also is as his confidence built with that off-speed splitter. Now his slider and curve have come around.
There's JT Realmuto with 2 outs, and he takes a fastball for a strike. Jerry Meals calling the balls and strikes tonight. Realmuto at .290, but he's in a slump right now. 0 for his last 21, the longest 0 for of his major league career. And after much speculation about Realmuto maybe getting traded last winter, maybe getting traded at the deadline, Derek Jeter came out and said this week that they would love to sign Realmuto for the long term. And why not? He's certainly a guy you'd like to build around.
Well, he's very athletic. He's kind of out of the Jerry Grody mold and John Stearns for you old Met fans out there. Athletic, can run, but he's the better hitter of the lot.
14 home runs this year. Wheeler falls behind him 3-1. Zach's made 2 prior starts against the Marlins this year. He pitched a gem down here in April, 7 innings, 2 hits, and then took a loss against them in New York. Full count to Realmuto.
Well, this is so nice to see, and I know it's only the first inning, but this has been a body of work that Wheeler has put together now going into a 3rd month.
And every start builds on the one before.
Yep.
Right? Confidence grows. He fills the strike zone. Every pitch well thought out and a quality pitch.
It reminds me, and I try to get this in quick, of a young John Smoltz, who you knew had the stuff. It was just a matter if he can put it together.
And he strikes out Realmuto with the curveball to end the inning. An impressive first inning for Wheeler. 1-2-3 with a couple of strikeouts. Game road trip in 5 cities. Try and pay attention. Picks games tomorrow and Sunday here in Miami. Back to New York for a game at Yankee Stadium Monday. To Baltimore for 2 Tuesday and Wednesday. Then 5 with the Phillies. The first 4 in Philly. The last one in Williamsport, PA. Got it? Nimmo grounds the first pitch of the second inning to Castro. And Urania has a quick out in the second.
And we will not be bringing you the broadcast in that Yankee game. ESPN took that game, and we will not bring you the first game of the doubleheader in Philadelphia on Thursday. But don't worry, Gary and I have the second game.
And we don't have the last game in Williamsport either. That's also an ESPN production. Here's Todd Frazier. So that's 3 games on this road trip that will not appear on our air.
Amazing.
That first game in Philadelphia, that 4 o'clock first game of the doubleheader, that's a Facebook only game. Second time this year that's happened. 0-2 to Frazier, who's 3 for 20 since coming off the disabled list.
Playing Frazier to pull on the infield. 3 on the left side.
And it's right on the outside corner. 3 pitches, and Urania takes care of Frazier. His first strikeout. Urania has never been much of a strikeout pitcher. In fact, in his major league career, he has never struck out more than 7 in a game.
Well, this is paint your wagon. Not a bad pitch. I think Todd may have been looking for a breaking ball. 0-2.
Now Austin Jackson making his 9th start in a Mets uniform. He's hitting a mere .438 so far, and he dribbles one up the third baseline. He may have another hit. Urania picks it up belatedly, and Jackson has a swinging bunt for a base hit. Well, when you're hot.
Yeah. Was that a Ray Stevens song?
When you're hot, you're hot?
Yes.
When you're not, you're not? I thought that was somebody else. Jerry. Oh, Jerry. I gotta look it up now.
You're going to look it up?
I'm going to look it up.
We love to talk music together, don't we, Gary? Who was it?
Jerry Reed.
Jerry Reed, that's right.
Somebody else.
Jerry Reed did a lot of acting, too.
Did he?
Yes. Let me see that. Show his picture.
Not confusing him with Robert Reed.
No. I'm looking at his picture.
Here's Kevin Plawecki with 2 out and a runner at first. Kevin just 1 for his last 18. His average is .220 for the year. Jackson at first. He's stolen 3 bases this year, 1 since joining the Mets. Plawecki grounds 1 foul, and it's 1-1. Urania generally does a good job controlling the running game. Only 4 steals against him in 22 starts. 4 steals and 6 caught, which is an awfully good percentage.
Yes, he did do a lot of movies. I was right. He did all those Smoking the Bandits, all that kind of.
Slider hit out to center field, and Sierra eases back to get it, and that retires the side. An infield hit and 1 left. Middle of the second. Mets and Marlins, no score.
when I thought I was going to sneak away, get away with not doing it. Alexis starting infield. Well, McNeil playing every day at shortstop. Lucky getting more playing time behind the plate. We've talked about that. In the open, Austin Jackson in center field.
Zach Wheeler retired the side in order in the first. Derek Dietrich leads off in the home second and takes a fastball for a strike. Dietrich has been playing just about every day in left field. Now a first baseman with Justin Bour traded to the Phillies today. Dietrich has had a lot of hits against the Mets this year. In fact, he's hitting .370 against the Mets. .282 overall. Now in his 6th year in the big leagues, all with the Marlins. Guy who can play just about anywhere. And a cleanup hitter tonight. And he takes a splitter low, 1-2. Dietrich, Castro, and Prado for the Marlins in the second. Miami was holding its own pretty nicely through June and July, but they have really fallen off in August. Oh, and a nasty swing by Dietrich, and he looks back at Wheeler as if to say, what was that?
That was called a slider.
Third strikeout in a row for Wheeler.
This one's like a whirling dervish coming in.
Didn't really move, just spun, and he missed it.
Well, that was a different angle here. I thought it moved pretty good. And look at him drop the back shoulder and get under it. And plus, it was going to eat him up anyway. That was going to be bees in your hands and your fingers. Not good. Don't recommend it.
There's Starlin Castro, 127 hits this year. That's tied for 6th in the National League. And he takes first pitch slider off the plate.
See, what's also good about Zach, when he misses off the strike zone, not over the middle. When you got a fastball like that, that sets everything else up. And he's throwing more of it, and I couldn't be more happy.
He moves Castro off the plate at 97 inside, 2-1. Wheeler went a long time without getting a win, but more importantly, really since the middle of May, he has just kicked it into a different gear. And now he's getting the wins as well.
He only had one really bad start, and after that June 1st, Gare, and that was against Atlanta at Atlanta, where he gave up 6 runs in 5 2/3.
He's had some others where the final line didn't look great.
Right.
He pitched deep into games and now they got hurt late. Hit out to right field, and Nemo's right there to grab it, and there are 2 out. We were talking about the Marlins. You know, they started out poorly, looked like they were going to be a 110 loss team, but then things steadied. Don Mattingly got them to play really well. They were 14-14 in June. They were 12-13 in July, and you'd have to say, considering their overall numbers, that was really playing over their head, but it's kind of caught up to them. They're 1-6 in August, and they've now lost 8 of their last 9, and they're not scoring much at all right now. There's Martin Prado, who's just been bedeviled by injuries the last 2 years. He signed a 3-year, $40 million contract extension that kicked in last year. Well, he played 37 games last year. He's played 49 this year because of a variety of injuries, mostly to his hamstring. Shallow right, and in comes Nimmo to get it, and it's 6 up and 6 down for Wheeler to start his night with not a whole lot of sweat. No score after 2. Miami, Florida. Lots of water. Zach Wheeler leads off in the third. Zach not only having his best pitching year, but his best offensive year as well. 8 hits, 4 RBIs. Bounces the slider foul from Jose Urena, and it's 0-2. Urena's given up a hit in each of the first 2 innings, while Wheeler's given up nothing through his first 2. Rosario and McNeil to follow in the third. And Wheeler down on strikes. That's the second of the night for Urena. Doug Williams and SNY MLB insider Andy Martino discussed Jacob deGrom's path to the Cy Young Award. Do wins really matter? Plus updates on the Mets GM search on the latest Shea Anything podcast. Search Shea Anything and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Here's Rosario, slammed a single to center field, leading off the game. And he grounds this one right at Castro. And quickly there are 2 out. These are 2 teams that have struggled all year to score runs. There are 6 teams in the major leagues averaging less than 4 runs per game, and the Mets and Marlins are 2 of the 6. The others Kansas City, Detroit, San Diego, and Baltimore. As we'll see the Orioles during this road trip. First time they played Baltimore, both those games were extraordinarily low scoring. Here's McNeil, who flied to center his first time up, and he lines one to center. That's going to be down for a base hit. So the Mets have their 3rd hit of the night, a 2-out single for Jeff McNeil.
Well, McNeil continues to get his hits. That's his 42nd at bat in his young career, his 15th game.
So he's aboard with 2 out for Flores, who popped up his first time up. And he takes a slider off the plate for ball 1. So Urena last start against the Phillies gave up 3 home runs, first time in his career that had happened to him. Basically, if you look at his pitching ledger this year, he's either had really good days or really bad days. And off to a good start tonight. Another slider off the plate. It's 2-0 to Flores with Michael Conforto on deck. Urena, 26 years old. He started out with the Marlins as a relief pitcher. He didn't really make his way into the rotation until last year had begun. That's lined into right field, and Flores has a base hit. McNeil will go first to third. Anderson gets it in, and the Mets have runners at the corners with 2 out. So Wilmer going the other way, and the Mets with back-to-back 2-out hits.
Well, a little up with the pitch, but it had the outside corner. But Wilmer had the good idea, the right idea, going the other way. 2 outs. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that on the crack of the bat, you're moving.
Well, what if you are a rocket scientist?
Well, then you move faster.
Only if you bring the rockets out there with you. Here's Conforto, and Michael takes a slider in on him for ball 1. Conforto flied to center his first time up.
Well, they're giving that big hole on the left side of the infield. Sinker ball pitcher, don't get it. That's an easy ground ball. Base hit, RBI. Missed twice inside. He's going to come with that sinker sooner or later, and boy, just in the high weeds, Gary. They never see you.
Not till it's too late. And now 3-0 to Conforto. Turning him loose here?
No, I would not, because Michael's had a tough time. And he's been pulling too much, and I'm afraid he'd get a 3-0 sinker and Gary and roll it over.
And he takes that sinker for a strike.
Well, there's the bread and butter right there. That's his little sinker on the outside corner. He's 3-1 now. Unless he doesn't want to pitch to him. He's got Nimmo in the on-deck circle, another left-hand hitter. I'm sitting on that sinker, outer half of the plate. We throw him a slider. But still, Gary, I got another strike.
Dietrich moves behind Flores at first. He'll be running on a 3-2 pitch. Imagine that, actually playing behind the runner with 3-2 and he's going to be going.
Yes. We haven't seen that in a while. I wouldn't play that far behind him.
3-2. And Conforto bounces it foul.
Well, Wilmer doesn't run well. We know that. So you could play a lot deeper. Wilmer's not going to blaze a trail around those bases.
Rainier hasn't walked a batter. He struck out 2. And Conforto hits one toward the hole. That goes through for a base hit, and the Mets get the game's first run. McNeil comes in to score. 3 straight 2-out hits from McNeil, Flores, and Conforto, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead. Wilmer had to contort to make sure he didn't get hit by that batted ball as it found its way through the hole, and that's why he's smiling.
If you're wondering why he's not on third base on a ball hit to right field. Good stroke by Conforto. Wilmer.
I did the little dance step. There he goes. Whoop. Just glad he didn't get hurt. So Conforto drives in his 40th run of the year. And now Nimmo will try and add to it with 2 out and 2 on. Brandon grounded out to second base his first time up. And a pickoff try, and Wilmer just got the hand back in. There was plenty of daylight there. Rainier may be a little slow getting it to the shortstop Rojas, and Wilmer fortunate to get back.
What are you getting his helmet for?
Ooh, his hand actually came up short of the bag originally, and he just got his finger there in time. It was an odd slide. And the Marlins holding it to see if they want to challenge that call, and Don Mattingly says no challenge. See, watch, his hand sticks in the ground, the heel of his hand, and then he has to reach at the last moment with his finger.
Oh, gosh. I don't know what to tell you.
Tell me it's a 1-0 count to Nimmo.
Yes, let's move on.
And now it's 1-1. Brandon had a big day on Wednesday. 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, hit 2 of them to left field. And all 3 of them came with a 2-strike count. And one pops out of the middle of Realmuto, but no advance. Todd Frazier would be next. Rainier easily retired the first 2 hitters in the third, but McNeil, Flores, and Conforto with consecutive hits, and now Nimmo trying to keep the line moving.
See, if I'm up at the plate right now, Gare, or if Brandon's up at the plate, you look at the defense. Got a right hand. I know I'm beating a dead horse here. Got a right hand sinker ball, but I got the shortstop way up the middle. I am looking for that sinker and going right in that exposed left side of the infield.
Now full count to Nimmo, and that'll get the runners in motion. Flores and Conforto set to take off with 3 and 2 and 2 down, and Rainier trying to find its way out of the weeds. 21 pitches deep into this third inning. His second straight full count, and Nimmo pops it up into shallow center field. Sierra coming on, calling off Castro, and that retires the side. But the Mets string together 3 straight 2-out hits to play to run. 1-0 New York in the third. on for the bottom of the third. We check in with Steve Gelb. Steve?
Gary, given the way Zach Wheeler has been pitching for the last couple of months, it's actually amazing to think back to the beginning of the season when he started it in AAA. But talking with Zach, he said that demotion is probably the best thing that happened to him, and not because of the reason you might think, not because of any sort of added motivation to show the Mets they were wrong, but because it really allowed him to iron out some of his mechanics. When spring training started, Dave Island switched up a couple of things with Zach, and while he was working on it, he was also trying to win a spot. So that's very difficult to do, to try and win a spot on the team and change up the way that you're approaching your pitching mechanics. When he went back down, though, to AAA, Wheeler said he mentally changed his focus, thought to himself, you know what, nobody's here to watch. I don't care if I give up 10 home runs, as long as I get my arm action where I want it to be. He was able to get it there, and then when he did come back after just one start in the minor leagues, he looked different and really has never looked back.
Well, it's hard to make changes when on the big league level, and when you go down to AAA, you know, there's not the pressure, particularly the bright lights of New York. We've talked about it. So yes, it worked out well. And when he came back too, Zach, you know, he didn't exactly set the world on fire. It took him around 5 starts to get rocking, 5 or 6 starts.
Well, it's important to remember also, this is a guy who missed 2 full seasons, and then last year when he came back didn't even throw 90 innings last year. So there's been a lot of rust to shake off, and the results have been startling over the last 3 months. His velocity keeps increasing, his confidence keeps building, and his secondary pitches have been terrific, and the addition of the splitter has helped as well. Rosario gets in front of the ground ball by Rojas, but then can't handle it cleanly. Nice job by Rosario to get in front of it, but then just mishandled it. And the Marlins have their first base runner on the Rosario error.
He's there, and the ball hits the heel of his glove. Just didn't get down enough there.
10th error of the year for Rosario. And so Wheeler will have to pitch out of the stretch for the first time as he faces the pitcher Urania, who undoubtedly will be bunting.
Urania's only got 1 sacrifice all year. That's kind of hard to do in 21 starts.
He had 8 last year, so he's a better bunter than he's shown this year. He lays off that one, ball 1. I like his career numbers. They're like a picket fence. He's 11 for 111 in his major league career. 5 ones. Oh! Up and in, and he used the bat to protect himself.
Wasn't that close.
Sure felt like it from the look on his face.
No, they just don't throw inside anymore, and they just, I think, just put a lot more hitters in jeopardy. Not used to getting thrown inside. Makes them more vulnerable.
Zach retired the first 7 before the error put Rojas aboard. And Urania bunts it hard, but Flores will get the sure out. 3-4 on the sacrifice, retiring Urania. Rojas moves to second.
Nice bunt.
So he's got his second of the year, Pete.
How about that? After on his 22nd start, that's really hard to believe, Gary, in the National League.
Maybe they haven't been getting on in front of him. It's not a very good offensive team. I mean, we know how little run support he's got.
Yes, it's true.
In fact, Urania 3.2 runs per start, lowest run support in the major leagues this year. Tying run at second with 2 out. Now Magneuris Sierra, who grounded out to third base his first time, and Zach blows a fastball by him. Sierra came up with the Cardinals last year and hit in his first 9 games. It was the longest career starting hitting streak by a Cardinal since 1902. But he hasn't hit much as a Marlin this year. Came over in the Marcelo Zuna trade. He was not the key piece in that trade. The hard-throwing right-hander Sandy Alcantara, who immediately became the Marlins' best prospect, was the linchpin in that deal. Saw him earlier this year. curveball from Wheeler. Sierra stopped the swing 1-2. Sierra hasn't walked since he's been here. 46 at bats, no walks. And as I mentioned earlier, they're trying to get him to bunt more. They brought in Juan Pierre, who's as good a bunter for base hits as there's been in baseball the last 30 years. And he worked with Sierra extensively on his bunting skills. And he slaps that one just foul. And that's the kind of hitter Sierra is going to have to be. That slashing left-hand hitter who can really fly to first base. Seems to me the Marlins had one of those guys. D. Gordon.
Yes, they did.
Now playing second base in Seattle. In fact, with the trade of Justin Bourne today to the Phillies, there are only 2 players left with the Marlins who were in their opening day lineup last year.
Real Muto.
And Derek Dietrich. That's it.
Yep.
Everybody else is gone. Bourne and Gordon and Echeverria, and of course the 3 outfielders, Yelich, Stanton, and Ozuna. Here's Spectrum high-speed pitch for it tonight. Ooh, an unexpected draw.
I don't think Uranian is throwing as hard as Zach.
Seventh pitch to Sierra, and he tied him up, but he held the swing, and it's 3-2. So after Wheeler got ahead of Sierra, he's run the count full. Brian Anderson would be next. Rojas at second with 2 down. And Sierra lines one the other way. Conforto coming on, sliding to make the catch. Conforto got a nice break on that ball, and his sliding catch saves Wheeler the possible tying run. After 3, 1-0 New York. Fourth inning, 1-0 New York. Todd Frazier leads off against Jose Urena. Takes the slider off the plate for ball 1. Todd was caught looking on a fastball his first time up. Mets punched 3 2-out hits for a run in the 3rd. And Zach Wheeler's yet to allow a hit. Mets have won 4 out of 6 in Miami this year, their final trip. Change up by Urena, 1-1. Austin Jackson on deck. Kevin Plawecki behind him. Mets have won 5 of 9 overall from Miami. In fact, the Mets have winning records against 2 of their division rivals. They have a winning record against the Phillies as well. That'll be tested when they go to Philadelphia for a 5-game series at the end of this trip. Phillies now more fortified than ever. A check swing tapper, and it goes up the line. Frazier didn't know where it was. Real Muto double clutches and still throws Frazier out. Frazier pointing back, but Frazier should have run earlier. He was looking around to see where the ball was rather than running to first base as that ball crept up the third baseline. And that probably cost him an infield hit.
Well, I've been in these shoes before, Gary. You don't. Well, he knew where the ball was.
And rather than complaining about the call at first, maybe you should have run to first base a little harder. So 2-3 put out, and that's the first out of the inning. Now here's Austin Jackson, who hit one in a similar spot, ran hard and got an infield hit in the second inning. And he takes a fastball inside for ball 1. Jackson lays off, and it's 3-0. Here's your Ford leaderboard. Well, Austin Jackson just doesn't stop hitting since he's put on a Mets uniform. 452, and that's round up among the leaders since he got here. Here's a strike, 3-1. I mean, Jackson didn't hit at all when he was in San Francisco earlier this year, but he had a really good year in Cleveland last year in part-time duty. Hit 318, and that's kind of more the Jackson we're seeing since he's joined the Mets. Of course, Mickey Callaway got to see that firsthand last year, and to him, this is exactly what he expected to see from Jackson, having seen him at his best last season.
It's a small slice here, 33 at bats.
And he goes down swinging for the second out. Third strikeout for Urania. Time for tonight's Verizon trivia question. Who's the only pitcher to record 1,000 strikeouts as a Marlin? I mean, they've had some great pitchers come through here, but who lasted long enough to strike out 1,000? I think I know. Plawecki skies one down the left field line. Coming over is Ortega into foul ground, and he runs it down. There's that athleticism in the Marlins outfield that they wanted from Ortega. He went a long way to get that ball. Still 1-0 Mets. live streaming presented by Verizon. Just visit SNY.TV or download the NBC Sports app today for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. Nice picture of the port. Very industrialized. Lots of containers.
That's where all the cruise liners come in too, in that neighborhood. That's that bridge that heads over to that South Beach where you can get in a lot of trouble.
I would just say that of all the scenic shots we've seen from Miami as Brian Anderson takes inside, it's probably the least scenic view.
Well, it's industry. It's commerce.
See the flamingos. See, that's a little more bucolic. A little more what you think of when you think of Miami.
And that's the first hanging breaking ball that Wheeler has thrown. And Anderson was out in front.
Anderson struck out his first time up, one of 3 strikeouts for Wheeler through the first 3 innings. Struck out 9 in his last start. He just misses off the corner. 2-1. JT Realmuto on deck, then Derek Dietrich. This has always been a favorite stopping off point for Zach. 9 career starts against Miami, a 2.08 ERA.
Yes. And this year in his 2 starts, he's 1-1 in 13 innings pitched. He's given up 4 runs, only 2 earned. That's an ERA sparkling at 1.38.
Behind on Anderson, 3-1. And he fires inside, ball 4, and there's the first walk given up by Wheeler. On the road in Miami, presented by Old Dominion. I think. We're trying to get on the road. Here we go. We're on the road now.
Paul's been very good
So
today.
it's never been 100 degrees here. So as much as people complain about, you know, the overwhelmingly warm weather here, it's never been 100 degrees in Miami.
That's right. It feels like it.
It's named after Big Water. We showed you all the water before. There's plenty of water here. Sunblock was invented in Miami Beach. Got a lot of sunburn before that. And Miami Beach is a man-made island. It's a big island to be man-made. It's a lot of engineering. JT Realmuto takes a strike.
A lot of landfill.
Yeah. I mean, we think of landfill in New York, we think fresh kills. You know? Lots of trash. They think landfill here, you get South Beach. It's a whole different story. Derek Dietrich on deck. 0-2 to Realmuto. And the curveball misses down. 1-2.
Isn't this where, oh, there you go. I would not want to make a meal for him. He would drag me underwater, drown me, store me away, and just nibble on me for around a month. No thanks.
You could be a whole winter's nourishment for that gator.
Yeah, considering right now, yes, that I need to drop 15 pounds.
Well, that's some good incentive. You think you'd be less likely to be gator bait at that point? 1-2 to Realmuto. And he just got a piece to stay alive. JT Realmuto, now 27 years old, from Del City, Oklahoma. Made his first All-Star game this year. Trying to snap out of an 0-for-22 stretch as he faces Wheeler. Zach got that ball in on him, but he kept it alive. Anderson at first with nobody out. And Realmuto skies one to center. Should be easy for Jackson. 1 out, and Anderson back to first. So Realmuto's struggles continue. 0 for his last 23.
Well, you don't have to worry with this Marlin team for any stolen bases. They're last in a lot of offensive categories, as Gary mentioned earlier, but they are last, dead last in stolen bases.
Well, they've got two guys in the lineup tonight who should be base stealers, Sierra and Ortega. The problem is
they got to get on base.
Exactly.
You can't, the old adage, you can't steal first.
Remember Essex Sneed?
Yes, I do.
There's Derek Dietrich swinging and missing at a splitter, 0-1. I mean, Essex Sneed could have broken records as a base stealer if only you could have gotten on base.
Oakland A's had a base stealer.
Well, they had Herb Washington.
Yes.
Well, he was not even a baseball player.
Right.
He was a pinch runner out of the track world.
What was that, back in the 80s?
Herb Washington, he was with the A's in the 70s.
Yes, that's right.
When they won their championships, their 3 straight World Series. That was one of Charlie Finley's ideas, bringing a sprinter in to be a base stealer. There goes the runner, hit and run play, and Dietrich fouls it off.
And also Charlie Finley's idea not to let Mike Andrews come in the World Series.
He fired him. He fired him in the middle of the World Series, and Louis Kuhn rescinded it.
And Oakland A's players, to a man, all 24 of them, refused. They said, we will not go get on that airplane and fly. Who were they playing?
The Mets.
The Mets. It's
73.
Yep, we will not go unless Mike Andrews is reinstated.
And then Andrews pinch hit at Shea Stadium. That ball kicks away from Plawecki, and heading to second is Anderson. Makes it on the dirt ball read, and he's at second with 1 out on the wild pitch.
And the dirt breaking ball. Plawecki got in front of it, just kind of caromed off the side of his rib cage.
Anyway, when Andrews pinch hit at Shea Stadium, he got a standing ovation.
Yes, he did. It really made Charlie Finley look bad. But he made an error or something that cost the game?
Yep. 1-2 to Dietrich, and he takes it high.
How would you feel? You make a couple errors, cost your team a World Series win, and your owner releases you. Jeez.
Starlin Castro on deck. Second 3-ball count in this inning for Wheeler. And the curveball struck him out. Wow. Went to the slow curve, strikes out Dietrich for the second out of the inning.
Well, he made Dietrich look like he's never seen a breaking ball before. Watch this swing. That's if I'm going to swing that bad, I'll take it. I'll take a call third strike.
I mean, I've got to imagine, Keith, just from a layman's point of view, you got Wheeler out there throwing 97, throwing sliders and splitters 90 miles an hour plus, that when he throws a 79-mile-an-hour curveball, it's got to just rock your world.
Excuse me, that just snuck out of nowhere. It's a great pitch that he's always had it, but he can never command it. And it's a great pitch to drop on the outside corner to left-handers. I mean, it's a 12-6 curve, Garrett, on the outside corner.
So, I mean, you have to be gearing for something harder than that, and then Dietrich's completely out on his front foot and looks awful. Castro swings over that curveball, and it's 1-1.
Oh, boy. This is just another testament to Zach's coming around here, coming of age.
Talented pitcher who has found the answer key. Grounded down to third. Frazier lays it, grabs it, and fires to get Castro side retired. Well, Zach Wheeler, 4 hitless innings, 1-0 Mets. Mets go to Camden Yards to take on the Orioles. Courtesy of Fios by Verizon. Coverage begins with City pregame Tuesday at 6:30 only on SNY.
Boy, the Orioles having an awful season.
Wheeler rolls one down to Dietrich. He'll take it himself. One pitch and one out for Urania in the 5th. Our next 2 days will be on Pix 11 City Probables. Corey Oswald will get the start tomorrow against Dan Straley, and then Sunday Noah Syndergaard against Wei Yin Chen. And with Oswald pitching really well when he's gotten his opportunities, Mickey Callaway is now floating the idea, perhaps when Steven Matz comes back, of going with a 6-man rotation. Matz is going to throw a simulated game tomorrow and might be ready as soon as the doubleheader in Philadelphia on Thursday to slip back into the rotation. At which point, if Matz and Vargas and Oswalt are all in the rotation, that's it through the hole, and Rosario's got his second hit of the night. 2 hard hit singles, one to center, one to left for Rosario, and the Mets have their 6th hit against Urania. Now, of course, the only problem with running a 6-man rotation heading down these final 7 weeks of the year is that you've got one of those 6 who's trying to win a Cy Young award.
So he's going to pitch every 5th day.
Well,
he should.
I mean, you'd have to massage it, and I asked Mickey about that, and he didn't commit to anything in particular, but what he said is, I'd have to have a conversation with Jake. We'd have to work things out, which to me means that they will work it around his schedule. Because if you went with a 6-man rotation from now to the end of the year, DeGrom would miss 2 starts.
Right.
And you don't want to do that to him as he's pursuing some fairly lofty individual goals.
Yeah. So one pitcher would have to take, well, you know, an off day, depends how the rotation rolls out.
You can do it. It's just that other guys are going to have to go on extra days of rest, and it's probably going to be detrimental to them. So, damn it! McNeil unhappy with popping that ball up, and Rojas reels it in for the 2nd out. You know, when the crowd is small and we have good audio, you never know what you might hear.
Oh. Shocking.
And our audio guys are great, and
yes.
the crowd is, well, it's sparse.
How is my audio? Am I speaking up?
Yeah. We can hear you just fine, Keith.
Good.
Your microphone is live and in color.
I do not
just
have
not
to,
too colorful.
We don't have to speak over the crowd today. That's for sure.
Rosario 11 steals, and he's been doing some more running lately. This would certainly be a good spot for it with 2 out, and Flores at the plate. And Mickey Callaway was talking about Rosario's base stealing today, and he said in some ways the fact that, you know, you're in a stretch of the season now where you're not competing for a title makes it easier to convince Rosario to run. You don't have to worry about getting caught stealing that might cost them a game.
Right. This is all about when your players, young players, are getting a chance to play. Oswalt getting a chance to start every 5th day or potentially every 6th day. You know, you let guys relax and watch and see their ability take over, how much they got.
And, you know, it's right now for Rosario a matter of learning how to read pitchers, learning how to get good jumps, so that next year, when presumably the games become more meaningful again, he'll have those skills in his arsenal. That's pulled to third and snagged by Prado to end the inning. A step and a lunge by Prado to take a base hit away from Flores and keep the Mets off the board in the 5th. Halfway through, 1-0. Home fifth inning, Martin Prado leads off against Zach Wheeler and takes a fastball for a strike. That's 10 first pitch strikes to the first 15 batters for Zach tonight.
60 pitches in the first 4 innings. That's 15 per.
Prado flying to right his first time up. You know, 15 per inning has always been considered the norm. That's what you'd like to shoot for. But, you know, if you extrapolate that out over 9 innings, that's 135 pitches. And, you know, most of the time pitchers aren't going to be allowed to throw 135.
Not today.
Well, unless there are extraordinary circumstances.
That's why there's no complete game.
But if there's an extraordinary circumstance.
Right, which I know what you're leading to.
You know, if you haven't allowed a hit.
We're only in the 5th.
I know, I'm just saying.
Get to the 6th, and then we can start looking.
Just thinking ahead. One, two coming. That's line to left center, and there's no reason to think about it anymore. So a leadoff hit for Prado in the 5th. And Marlins have their first hit of the night.
Well, Prado could, no matter how much he's struggling, he's getting older, and of course, Gary mentioned all the injuries the last couple years. I've always liked him as a player.
Now Rafael Ortega, who fouled out to third base in his first at bat as a Marlin. And he pulls one to first, grabbed by Flores, out at second, and Rosario drops it on the transfer. Boy, Flores threw a lollipop to second base. So the Mets were going to have no chance to turn 2 anyway with the speedy Ortega going down the line.
Well, they had a shot. It's a bullet, Gare.
But look at the throw.
It was a hand grenade.
I mean, Wilmer's had trouble throwing the ball all year. It's one of the reasons why he's kind of stuck in one position now, because his throws from third base and second base had become so untrustworthy. And that throw to second base was not good. So they get the lead man, and now Ortega aboard, a guy who can steal a base. He had 12 steals in the minors this year.
And that should have been a double play right there. That ball's hit too hard.
Now Miguel Rojas, who had a hard ground ball to Rosario. He got in front of it, but bobbled it for an error. Better pickoff move. Ortega gets back. Rafael Ortega had big league time in Colorado and Anaheim, but getting his first run as a Marlin.
I like the fact that Zach has thrown inside to these right-hand hitters a lot. He's moved them off the plate.
Remember, he started doing that more once Devin Mesoraco came aboard. The first start he made with Devin in Cincinnati.
Good call.
We saw such a huge difference. Plawecki catching him tonight. Well, obviously the scouting report on Ortega precedes him. Wheeler spending a lot of time checking in on Ortega at first. Rojas fouls with a fastball, 1-1. Fifth inning recap presented by Aetna Better Health of New Jersey. It's been a pitcher's duel so far. Rainey's given up 6 hits, but just the 1 run. Wheeler just gave up his first hit of the night. hold, and Rojas asks for time.
Not a very strong lead from Ortega at first base for a speedster. He's got a very conservative lead.
Grounded on the right side. McNeil will have to go to first with it, and gets the second out as Ortega moves up to second, which is fine because you got the pitcher coming up next. So a runner in scoring position with 2 down. Third straight inning that the Marlins have gotten a runner to second base. Urania had a sacrifice his first time up, just 2 for 33 at the plate with 1 RBI this season.
Oh, nice. You can't take it for granted, Garris. That's why I love having the pitchers in the lineup there, or anything can happen.
Popped it up. And that's what happens. McNeil grabs it to end the inning. So a leadoff hit. The first against Wheeler. He works around that. Still 1-0. Braves a game behind the Phillies starting action tonight. Phillies are in San Diego tonight. Let's answer our Verizon trivia question. The only pitcher to strike out 1,000 of the Marlins. I think it's Ricky Nolasco, because I think he was here the longest of all those. That 1,001 was here just long enough. I mean, you think about all the great pitchers they've had, right? Josh Beckett.
Not great pitchers. Well, were they great pitchers?
Well, Josh Beckett was.
Okay, and Al Leiter was here, and Levon,
and Alex Fernandez,
yes,
and Kevin Brown, and I mean, they've had a lot of really
you got a point.
Stellar pitchers through here, but none of them stayed that long. But Nolasco played the bulk of his career here. I think, if I remember correctly, didn't Ricky Nolasco make his debut against the Mets? I think he did.
Oh, your memory is better than mine, Gary. But I'm a little bit older than you, so.
Saying some brain cells have been the dust along the way.
Oh, I think so.
Michael Conforto's driven in the only run of this game. A 2-out single in the third, played at Jeff McNeil, and that's been it. Grounded toward the bag, and that's just foul.
Barely.
Barely missed himself a fortunate hit.
That was a cue stick right there, I believe. Michael still having difficulty with the off-speed pitches.
Let's see how close this was to being fair.
No, that's foul. Good call.
Gabe Morales, the third base umpire, right on top of it.
Had it covered. Every time I see the number 30, which is not too much, really, I think of Orlando Cepeda.
Not me. In Mets uniform, Nolan Ryan.
Oh, okay. Well, I think of Cepeda.
Did he wear 30 throughout his career or just with the Giants?
I'm not sure about that. I don't know what he wore in St. Louis.
St. Louis and then Atlanta as well.
And then Boston.
Right. He was with the Braves in '69 when they played the Mets in the National League Championship Series. That great lineup. They had Rico Carty and Hank Aaron and Cepeda. And the Mets outscored him in that series.
Wasn't Clete Boyer playing third on that team? Yes.
Slider at the feet of Conforto, and it's 3-2. Urania has not walked a batter tonight. Mentioned his walk rate is down this year, just 2.6 walks per 9. Nimmo and Frazier to follow in the 6th. And Conforto draws the walk, and the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 6th. So that is the first walk of the night for Urania. Brandon Nimmo coming up. We check in with Steve.
Gary, you mentioned this earlier in the game, but all three of Brandon Nimmo's doubles on Wednesday came in 2-strike counts, which is actually not all that rare for Nimmo. Over half of his extra base hits this season have come with 2 strikes, whereas just about 15% of his extra base hits have come when he's ahead in the count. Very, very strange, and it's gotten both Nimmo and the coaches thinking about what he needs to change. So one thing that he's considering is taking that 2-strike approach a little bit earlier in his at-bats. But the other thing that the coaches have noticed is that when he's ahead in counts, he almost feels like those are the ones he has to do damage in, and thus overswings, tries to kill the baseball. So the coaching staff would like Nimmo to focus a little less on feeling the pressure in those counts to do damage and just do what he does when he's up against the wall with 2 strikes.
Well, Steve, I don't understand how hitting 2-0 and 3-1 is pressure. I mean, that's what you live for, and that's, to me, is symptomatic of this home run mania that's running through the game. And Brandon Nimmo is a top of the order guy that gets base hits and gets on base, draws walks, and he's a table setter. But if you get 13 home runs, 15 home runs out of Brandon, that's great. But I want him on base. I want him with a 400 on base percentage to set up the big guys. I mean, I've never heard anybody, I mean, putting the pressure of hitting 3-0, 3-1, 2-0. That's nonsense.
Keith, can I ask you, though, I mean, pressure is probably, I guess, the wrong way to put it, but can there be a mentality when you get ahead in the count of feeling like this is where, if I'm going to do the damage, I have to do the damage here, and thus attempting to do damage, versus in, you know, other counts where maybe there's 2 strikes, you're just up there with your natural swing fighting?
What's the definition of damage? That's my question.
That's the question.
To hit a home run?
Exactly. If you feel as though you have to hit a home run, that is pressure, right?
Yes, and that's not the type of hitter that you want to put it on a guy like Nimmo. You can do damage hitting a base hit, like right now in this at bat. Nobody on, leadoff runner up, base hit to right field, first and third. That's damage. That sets up a big inning. A double in the gap or down the line scores a Conforto. You're on second base, nobody out, and you're in scoring position. That's damage.
Full count to Nimmo. Second straight full count for Urania to start this 6th inning. And they'll get the bullpen cranking. Drew Rucinski, just off the disabled list today for the Marlins, is up. Marlins put Hal Barraclaw, their deposed closer, on the DL today with back problems, and Rucinski took his place. 3-2, nobody out. Conforto runs. Nimmo tries to find the hole, but Castro runs it down. Doesn't have the play at second. Gets the out at first. The Mets stay out of the double play by putting Conforto in motion, and they've got a runner in scoring position with one out.
Hit that ball hard, trying to get in that hole. Went down on his knees on that one. See, pulling that sinker, you're playing into Urania's hands. He wants you to roll it over and get the double play.
So a runner in scoring position for Todd Frazier, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Takes a slider for a strike. Todd now 3 for 22 since coming off the disabled list. His average down to 210 for the year. And quickly 0-2. Urania has struck out 3. Not a big strikeout pitcher, but he's gotten Frazier once already tonight.
Oh,
and a
gosh.
nice stop by Real Muto.
I'll say. How did he do that? That was a 50-foot slider here.
This is pure reaction.
Oh, that was a changeup. Oh, nice scoop.
Frazier lines a base hit. Conforto to third. He's going to be held up there as Ortega gets it in quickly. And the Mets have runners at the corners with one out. So Frazier with a bullet through the hole. And the Mets have their 7th hit of the night.
I think Don Madeline is getting a little bit itchy down there. I think if Urania gives up another hit here, he will be heading to the showers. Good charge by Ortega. Not a strong throw. But at least he hit the cutoff man.
So now an RBI chance for Austin Jackson. First and third and one out. Jackson's had an infield hit and struck out tonight. 1 for 2. 8 RBIs in his first 11 games as a Met. And he takes a sinker low and in for ball 1. Conforto led off the inning with a walk. Frazier with the base hit. It's have 7 hits, all singles against Urania. And Jackson takes inside. 2-0.
Urania want to know where that pitch was.
JT Real Muto was asking Jerry Meals the same thing. Galecki on deck. 2-0 to Jackson. And he goes after the off-speed pitch. 2-1. And it rides inside. Now 3-1. Well, they've got Rucinski ready in the bullpen. And Jackson hits one past the mound behind the bag. It goes into center field for a base hit. Conforto scores. Frazier to third. A seeing eye single for Austin Jackson plates a run, and it's 2-0 New York.
Well, it got knocked. It got tipped the glove of Urania, and Castro just dove over the top of it. I thought he was going to get it. Castro, right of your screen. They got a late break here.
So the Mets take advantage of a leadoff walk. Jackson sneaks one through for a run-scoring hit, and that's going to be all for Jose Urania. And they'll bring Rucinski out of the bullpen. Another two-hit game for Austin Jackson. Knocks Jose Urena out. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. Drew Rucinski, a 29-year-old rookie, comes on to pitch for the Marlins. Just reinstated from the disabled list today.
Had a groin injury, hadn't pitched since mid-July, and you see not very many innings worked.
Comes in to face Kevin Plawecki, first and third and one out. A run home for the Mets in the sixth. And he comes inside and it hits Plawecki, and the Mets have the bases loaded. Got him right on the elbow guard. And so Rucinski's first pitch results in another base runner that loads him up, with Wheeler coming up.
Well, it's starting to fall apart here for the Marlins.
Actually got him on the wrist, not on the elbow guard. No damage done. So a chance for Wheeler to add to his lead. Urena out after 5 1/3, gave up 8 hits, charged with 2 runs so far, a walk, 3 strikeouts. And now Wheeler faces Rucinski with the bases loaded, 1 out. Zach is 0 for 2, and he tries to hold, but he went around on the high fastball. Rucinski had cups of coffee with the Angels and the Twins before landing here in Miami as a free agent, getting his most extensive big league playing time to date. Darts one on the outside corner, and it's 0-2. Statcast AI, powered by Amazon Web Services.
In at the corners, back for 2. In the middle.
Standard.
Yeah.
And Wheeler down on 3 pitches for the second out. So Rucinski, after hitting Plawecki, steadies by striking out Wheeler. Now he'll face Rosario with the bases loaded and 2 out. Ahmed's had a good night at the plate so far. 2 hard hit singles, 1 to center, 1 to left. Frazier at third, Jackson at second, Plawecki at first with 2 out. Takes high, ball 1. Rosario has had a tendency to be overly aggressive in these situations. Swings through the fastball, and it's 1-1. Rusinski out of the Ohio State University.
The Buckeyes?
There's only one. That's why they put the in the name.
Well, let me tell you something. That old MAC conference, Ohio U, they got a nice football program too.
They do, but they're not the Ohio State University.
They don't play in the horseshoe, right?
They don't dot the I in Ohio. That's a big honor, you know, dotting the I. Rosario swings at the cutter and fouls it off. 2-2. Jeff McNeil would be next.
Some Met fans here.
Always make a pretty nice percentage of the crowd whenever the Mets come to Miami. Between the transplants and the vacationers. Rosario lines one, base hit off the glove of Castro. That'll bring in 2. Frazier and Jackson score. Plawecki to third. He's tagged out to end the inning, but both runs score. A 2-run single by Ahmed Rosario on his 3rd hit of the night. The Mets put together a 3-run 6th inning. And then Plawecki gunned down to third to end it. 4-0 New York in the 6th. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 2-run single by Rosario. Let's watch.
Right side of your screen. Pick up Plawecki rounding second right now. Strong throw from Sierra. Little bare hand.
And the back runner on that play, Jackson, clearly scored before the tag was made at third. So Zach Wheeler now fortified with a 4-run lead. Starting his 3rd time through the batting order, Magneuris Sierra, who made that nice throw from center field, leading off. Sierra had a good at bat his last time up and then lined out to left. A nice catch by Conforto. He grounds this one back to Wheeler. And there's the first out of the bottom of the 6th. Well, Wheeler right now is working on a stretch of 22 consecutive scoreless innings. Didn't allow a run in his last start against the Braves. Didn't allow a run in his prior start either. So 22 straight and still rolling. facing Brian Anderson, who drew the only walk that Wheeler's given up tonight. You know, that's another piece for Wheeler. He has walked only one batter in each of his last 3 starts before tonight. That had never happened before.
I should have focused on that. His command, Gary, has really come full circle.
You know, there's got to be a big benefit to pitching on the same staff with guys as talented as DeGrom and Syndergaard. He's picked up a lot of DeGrom's work habits, and his command now is starting to resemble that of Syndergaard, who doesn't walk anybody. All coming together at the age of 28 after 2.5 missed seasons. Anderson bounces the curveball foul.
That's 2 hanging breaking balls right here in the 6th from Zach. His 3rd. He threw one last inning, his 1st. He's thrown 2 hangers this particular at bat to Anderson. It's something to keep an eye on. If maybe he's, you know, these guys don't go 9 anymore. It's not their fault.
Gets the fastball in on Anderson. He fouls it off. JT Realmuto on deck. The only base hit, a leadoff single by Martin Prado in the 5th. Zach has walked 1. He struck out only 4 tonight. He hasn't had his overpowering fastball. He hasn't been throwing 98, 99 as we've seen him at times this year. But it's been plenty against this Marlins lineup. And curveball in the dirt, 2-2 to Anderson.
Be nice to get a strong 7 out of Zach.
Went 7 in his last start against the Braves. 104 pitches in that outing. This will be his 80th tonight.
You know how many times I went up to pitchers?
Anderson loses the bat as he got a piece of it.
Yeah, and that ball found the inner thigh of Plawecki on that foul tip. Got him good on the right thigh. Oh, excuse me. It ricocheted. As in Ricochet Rabbit, got him on the quad on the left thigh.
Made Plawecki feel like Deputy Drupalong.
I like to set you up with the cartoons here.
Bing, bing, bing.
Oh.
Deputy Drupalong.
Yep.
Eighth pitch of the at bat coming from Wheeler to Anderson. Misses with a slider, 3-2.
No, the Cardinals jumped out early on Kansas City. They've been playing great. They're being led by
Matt Carpenter.
Yes, Matt Carpenter. What a
curveball struck him out.
Nice.
Wheeler goes to the hook to get Anderson for his 5th strikeout. 2 out. Time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, those are the breaking balls we're talking about. And there's another one. And it's not a strike. You get ahead, you can bounce that in the dirt. It's a good one.
Now here's Realmuto, and he takes a first pitch curveball for a strike.
There's that 79 mile an hour, just kind of get me over breaking ball.
Realmuto tonight has struck out and flied out. His drought is now 0 for 23. Another curve, and that's it over the bag, and that breaks his drought. Chased by Conforto, and Realmuto will downshift into second base with a 2-out double. Just the second Marlins hit of the night. And for Realmuto, it's been a while. Snaps an 0 for 23.
Just got this curveball too much over the middle. It wasn't a hanger. It hung as far as where location on the corners. You want to get this away. And see, it's right down the middle. So you can throw a good curveball, Gary, but if it's down the middle, it can be a good pitch to hit. You're throwing an off-speed curve, it's almost like a reverse sinker, where you want to get the right-hander to roll it over, but you got to get it away.
Derek Dietrich has been up twice and struck out both times. Dietrich rolls over the splitter, and it's 1-1.
He's given Dietrich a devil of a time tonight. 2 strikeouts. He's handled him. Wheeler, that is.
Dietrich fouls that one off, and it's 1-2. Dietrich pops it up. Rosario out. Conforto in to call him off, and that retires the side. A double and 1 left. Another scoreless inning for Zach. Real bad loss for the Nats, included Juan Soto twice getting picked off. Arlene Garcia on in relief for the Marlins, and Jeff McNeil takes a strike to start the 7th.
Well, there's the left-hander's numbers this year.
The Mets certainly remember Garcia well. He was starting games earlier this year for Miami, and back on April the 11th he threw 6 hitless innings against the Mets. In fact, in 6 career appearances against the Mets, the 1 start and 5 relief outings, Garcia has not allowed a single hit against New York. Rojas behind the bag, throws out McNeil 1 away. Garcia got off to a great start this year, first in the bullpen, then in the rotation, made 6 starts, and it went really well for a while. Then he faltered in May and wound up back in the minor leagues, and he's only been back for about 10 days.
Oh, hitters make adjustments.
Now Wilmer Flores 1 for 3 tonight. And Wilmer takes a fastball for a strike.
Oh, that was a good pitch. Home plate umpire Jerry Meals has called a very good game today. It's one of the few ones he's missed. There's nothing wrong with this pitch.
Arlene Garcia, just 25 years old. He was a mainstay out of the bullpen for the Marlins last year, 68 games. But it has been a roller coaster of a season this year. Yeah, Flores gets one in the air to shallow center. Sierra coming on, has to really turn on the Jets, and then Rojas has to go out and bail him out.
Wow.
Sierra wasn't going to get there.
What was he playing? Where was he playing? He's playing Wilmer like Babe Ruth?
I mean, he didn't come in particularly hard on that ball, then sped up, but it was too late, and Rojas bailed him out.
He could have had that ball if he had wanted, Gary. He didn't have to pull up.
Then he needs to be more assertive and call Rojas off, doesn't he?
Yes, but he decided to downshift. He's right there. He could have made the play. I'm not going to get picky on that. We're on the back stretch here.
I just sometimes wonder about how you choose your moments of pickiness.
Depends on my mood.
Oh.
I've had 3 days of refreshment. 4 days.
So you're feeling charitable? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm feeling refreshed.
Yes, but how does that reflect your pickiness? Forto grounds one down to Dietrich, and he'll take it himself. So Garcia comes in and throws a 1-2-3 top of the 7th. Stretch time in Miami, 4-0 Mets.
Let's
The zeros just keep on multiplying for Zach Wheeler. 23 straight scoreless innings as he starts the bottom of the 7th. Starlin Castro takes a strike, longest active scoreless streak in the National League. I think Chris Sale's at 23 straight in the American League, but he's been hurt. Castro's fly down, grounded out. And he takes a slider off the plate, a ball and a strike. Castro, Prado, and Ortega against Wheeler in the 7th, with Zach at 90 pitches for the night.
And Zach is cruising. I'd like to have a nice quick inning for him. Feel good about it. If he goes over 100, Gary, let him get a complete 7 innings.
There was his changeup, which we haven't seen a lot of.
Look at all that equipment.
But nobody throwing. Quiet equipment. Castro's flied out and grounded out tonight. Wheeler's done it tonight without a huge strikeout total. 5 strikeouts in 6 innings. And the curveball just missed.
That's wicked. That didn't miss by much. That took good eye by Castro not to swing at this. That's a great breaking ball. That could have been a strike.
And now a full count to Castro.
No leadoff walks. 4-0 lead. Fastball here. 8 gloves out there. Not walking yet.
Zach's walked only 1 tonight. That was Anderson leading off the 4th. That's got a run in the 3rd, 3 in the 6th to give Zach some breathing room. Jerry Meals waiting a moment to make sure Kevin Pilecki's okay after getting hit by that ball in the dirt. Three-2 coming to Castro. And he got him with a curveball. Strikeout number 6 for Wheeler. 1 down in the 7th. And now a quick message from your Tri-State Porsche dealers.
Okay, that was quick.
6 seconds.
Wow. Those Porsches are fast.
But you paid attention, didn't you? Here's Martin Prado, who had the first hit against Wheeler, a single to left center in the 5th.
Now I know Zach threw a 3-2 curveball, was ball 4 and got the out. Made Castro look bad, but with a 4-run lead in the 7th, I don't want a leadoff walk.
Slowly hit, that'll go foul. Ball and a strike to Prado.
Well, here's the 3-2 count right here. 4-0 lead. I saw Pilecki put number 2 down. I said, okay, I don't agree. It's not a strike. Makes Castro look like he's got a broom in his hand doing some sweeping.
Now, Castro was able to lay off a curveball that was much closer than that earlier in the count with 2 strikes.
As a hitter, you're 3-2, 4-0 game. Probably more geared on fastball.
Well, that wasn't a good curveball by Wheeler, but it found the plate, and it's 1-2. Jerry Blevins, first man up in the Mets bullpen.
6 strikeouts for Zach tonight. Good.
And he strikes out Prado for number 7.
Wow, and Prado sweeping. I mean, he just made 2 hitters look bad.
This one on the fastball away.
Look at that, no hip rotation. That's just, go sit down.
Well, back-to-back strikeouts for Wheeler to start the bottom of the 7th.
Finished strong.
And now Rafael Ortega, who is 0 for 2 in his Marlins debut. And he takes a strike on the outside. And it's lined into center field, and Ortega has a 2-out hit. 3rd hit of the night for Miami, and Ortega's first hit as a Marlin.
Syndergaard, DeGrom. Actually, let me change that order. DeGrom, Syndergaard, Wheeler. Pretty good 1-2-3.
Sure it's not DeGrom, Wheeler, Syndergaard?
Well, Syndergaard's got to get out there and pitch and stay healthy.
He'll pitch the final game of this series on Sunday. DeGrom pitches Monday night at Yankee Stadium. Here's Rojas, who's reached on an error and grounded out 0 for 2. And Wheeler misses away for ball 1. It has been one of the fun things in this often forgettable season to watch Zach Wheeler turn an enormous corner and realize all the potential that the Mets figured that he had from the day they traded for him 7 years ago.
Yes.
High fly ball, deep left field. Conforto back near the wall, and it's out of here. Miguel Rojas strikes for a 2-run homer to get the Marlins on the board. Number 9 for Rojas, and his 2nd against Wheeler. And it cuts the Mets lead to 4-2. Rojas had a spate of home runs early this season. Power that he had never shown before, and now he hits his 9th of the year.
Rojas always seems to give Mets trouble. He has good series against the Mets. A .250 hitter this year, and not a power hitter, but he connects on that fastball. And what a shame.
So that breaks the scoreless string for Wheeler. He had gone 23 consecutive scoreless innings, but gives out the 2-out single to Ortega, then the 2-run homer to Rojas to make it 4-2. JT Riddle has been announced as a pinch hitter for the Marlins. The Mets have the left-hander Blevins up. Riddle a left-hand hitter, but it appears for the moment as though Mickey Callaway is going to leave Wheeler in to try and finish off this 7th inning.
Absolutely.
And now Seth Lugo joins Blevins in the bullpen. You got another left-hand hitter on deck in Sierra. So with 2 out and nobody on, Wheeler stays in to face Riddle. And he takes fastball for a strike.
Well, they haven't. This is a team that's last in home runs. They haven't got any power on the bench. Certainly not in Riddle.
Riddle 0 for 8 as a pinch hitter this year. He's played most of the shortstop for the Marlins. He and Rojas.
I like it. Get back, rear back, and fire. Okay, I'm going to finish this off.
And he just got a piece of that curveball to stay alive.
Barely. And he's smiling. He knows he took a slow motion swing there. Got fooled completely. Zach's fooled a lot of guys. Made him look bad tonight, Gary.
Everybody but Rojas. And Riddle takes upstairs 1-2.
Good try right there with that upstairs fastball.
Wheeler threw 104 pitches in his last start. He's up to 107 tonight. And Riddle goes down swinging to end the inning. 8 strikeouts for Wheeler. That puts an end to his night. The home run by Rojas breaks up the shutout. Baseball on SNY is brought to you by PC Richard & Son, the official appliance, electronics, and mattress retailer of the New York Mets. We go to the 8th inning. Mets now with a 4-2 lead after the Miguel Rojas 2-run homer broke up Zach Wheeler's shutout string at 28 consecutive scoreless innings. Javi Guerra, the veteran right-hander, is on to pitch for the Marlins. Brandon Nimmo leads off in the 8th inning for New York. And Takes the first pitch high for ball 1. Nimmo tonight 0 for 3, grounded out twice and flied out. Frazier and Jackson to follow in the 8th against Guerra, who broke into the big leagues with the Dodgers as an instant star. He took over as the Dodger closer as a rookie under Don Mattingly in 2011, saved 21 games that year, followed it up with a really good year the next year. He's been basically hurt ever since. Bounced from the Dodgers to the White Sox to the Angels, and recently picked up his first save of the year, with Kyle Barraclough having been deposed as the Marlins closer. Barraclough is now in the DL. Guerra making his 14th appearance this year for Miami. And Nimmo fouls back the fastball 2-2. Guerra now 32 years old.
Right over the top, straight fastball.
Two coming, and Nimmo strikes out on the fastball, so Guerra starts his stint with a strikeout. 1 out and nobody on. Todd Frazier coming up. Tonight's starters brought to you by People's United Bank. Wheeler had a shutout going for 6 2/3, but that's over, and probably his stint is over as well after 108 pitches through 7 innings. Urania gave up 3 runs in the 6th inning, 2 of which scored after he departed. And so it's Wheeler on the long end with a chance to win 5 straight starts
and go over 500. Guerra go 7-6.
Frazier was right in the middle of the Mets' 3-run 6th with a base hit. He's 1 for 3 on the night. He fouls away the slider from Guerra, and it's 0-2. Arlene Garcia worked a 1-2-3 7th for the Marlins, which means that Garcia's now thrown 11 hitless innings against the Mets. Seth Lugo getting ready to pitch the bottom of the 8th for New York. Hit the other way toward the line. Anderson can't get it, and it's down for a base hit for Frazier, his 2nd hit of the night. So Todd going the other way for his 2nd base hit.
He got beat there. Nice inside out hitting right there. Fastball up and in. They want it away. It's inside, and he just inside outs it the other way. It's good hitting.
So the Mets have their 10th hit of the night. Now Austin Jackson, who has 2 of them, including an RBI single in the 6th inning. He's 2 for 3. Now 16 for 35 as a Met. What's the old expression? He's in a tree.
Yeah, on a roll.
Hitting .457 in a Mets uniform. Something about the old orange and blue. Slider by Guerra, and it's 0-2. Well, let's see how the Mets stack their bullpen for the 8th and 9th inning. Lugo's up now. Ever since Jerry's Familia was traded away, it's been kind of mix and match in terms of who gets the save opportunities. Reyes with a bat in his hand with the pitcher spot 2 batters away. Jackson flies one out to deep right center. Back in the gap goes Sierra on the track. He can't get there and hops over the wall for a ground rule double. Austin Jackson strikes again, his 3rd hit of the night. And the Mets have 2nd and 3rd with 1 out. About Austin Jackson.
Hanging slide. Oh, curveball down and in. Inside outs it to right center. Well, it actually didn't inside out. He drove it to right center field. Excuse me.
The ball kept working away from Sierra, who has great speed but couldn't get there. Now the Marlins have to bring the infield in. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. Kevin Pilecki, the batter. Pilecki 0 for 2. He's also been hit by a pitch. And goes after a first pitch fastball and fouls it back. Frazier at 3rd. Jackson at 2nd with 1 out. Mets had a 4-0 lead, saw it cut in half, now trying to get those runs back. And it's lined into right center, a base hit for Plawecki. Frazier is in, Jackson right behind him. He will score. Plawecki drives in a pair, and the Mets get those 2 runs back immediately. It's 6-2.
Well, the hits haven't been coming easy for Plawecki, and that's got to feel good right there.
Just his second hit in his last 21 at-bats.
Oh, his curveball. He's just getting clobbered with that curve. 2. Strikes out Nimmo with fastballs, and he gets hurt with Jackson and Plawecki with that curveball. Just a lazy 12-6. And Plawecki's all over it.
Mets are now 5 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight. Plawecki played in pair, and now Jose Reyes will be the pinch hitter batting for Wheeler, who is not much further along toward his 5th consecutive victory. Now with a 4-run lead again. Reyes drew a walk as a pinch hitter Wednesday, his last time up. And he takes a strike from Guerra. Frazier singled, Jackson doubled, Plawecki drove them both in. Mets now with a dozen hits on the night. And Guerra getting tattooed.
Yes, he is.
Well, all's fair in love and Guerra.
Oh, Gary, I didn't know you were bilingual.
Barely lingual. Side of ball and 2 strikes to Reyes.
What was that you said?
Yeah. I'm getting tongue-tied. Plawecki at first with 1 out. Rosario on deck. He's already got 3 hits tonight. And Guerra finally gets something good happen with his curveballs. He strikes out Reyes for the 2nd out.
Curveball. Right down the middle. Reyes out in front.
So 2 out. Plawecki at first, and here's Rosario, who's had a big night. 3 for 4, 2 RBIs. So after coming into the game in a 4 for 46 funk, Rosario, after a day off yesterday, has found the range tonight. He and Jackson have each had 3 hits among the Mets' dozen. Guerra fires a fastball inside 1-1.
Bottom of the order for the Mets has been very productive tonight.
Rosario flies one down the line toward the stands. Foul. Coming up tonight after the post game, it's Geico Sports Night. The Jets are playing their first preseason game tonight. And just for me, there's no OBJ news. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Geico Sports Night, folks. It's about time. Our nightmare is over. Foul tip is held by Real Muto for strike 3, inning over. 3 strikeouts in the inning for Guerra, but in between the Mets played a couple and lead 6-2.
choose to
I
accept.
thought he was going to flip. Really funny. You're really funny, Keith. What do you mean I'm funny?
Keith and Ron do their own version of Goodfellas on an all-new episode of the SNY.TV digital series, The Amazing Life, presented by Coca-Cola. Watch it now at SNY.TV/Coca-Cola. Seth Lugo on to pitch in the bottom of the 8th inning. Top of the batting order, Magneri Sierra pops up the first pitch he sees. Coming back, Plawecki to the screen, but he runs out of room. And I just want to make a point, Keith. I really think you're funny too.
What do you mean I'm funny?
I mean, you're a funny guy.
What? Like, I amuse you?
As a matter of fact, you do on a frequent basis.
We actually had great fun with that. Jeff Goldman at SNY puts these things together, and I tell you what, I had a lot of lines in that. And, you know, I've seen Goodfellas. Who hasn't? I mean, it was such a great film. I really felt that Scorsese should have won Best Director hands down for that film, and I hadn't seen it in so long, and I should have watched. It's a ground ball to third. I'll get this here. Frazier over to first. That's 2 down. And anyway,
I'm happy he did beat it.
is it 2 down or 1 down?
That's the first.
First out. So I should have watched that scene and familiarized myself how Joe Pesci did that scene. I only watched it a couple times, but I just didn't feel I did a good job. And Jeff said, "Don't worry, we'll cut it. It'll work." He cut it great. Great editing. Great. We had fun doing that.
There's Brian Anderson taking a curveball for a strike. I never really associated you with Joe Pesci, just because, from a typecasting standpoint, you don't really profile as a Joe Pesci type. You're probably a foot taller, and but I think you pulled it off really well.
It was all the magic of the director. And I thought Ronnie was terrific as Ray Liotta. Excuse me.
Another chance for Frazier. And a high throw, but Wilmer comes down to the bag for the second out. So 2 up and 2 set aside on ground balls to third in the bottom of the 8th. Well, I am still partial to the Nimmo episode.
You like Nimmo? I do too.
That was spectacular.
Well, just know that that's all done by Jeff Goldman at SNY, and they're here, his creations, and he just does a great job.
Are there more after the?
No, I think we're done. I
Goodfellas?
think we do 4 a year. It's the second year we've done it, Ronnie and I.
And you took over for Syndergaard,
Right,
so that
exactly.
was, that was some big shoes to step into.
So Goodfellas was actually in 1990. The Academy Award for Best Director went to Oliver Stone that year for Born on the 4th of July.
So Adam Conley up in the bullpen for Miami. We're getting ready to pitch the top of the 9th. Lugo pitched on Wednesday, a scoreless inning behind Jacob deGrom. He's behind Real Muto 2-0. And now 3-0. Real Muto snapped an 0 for 23 stretch with a double over the third base bag in the 6th. One of only 4 hits given up by Zach Wheeler in his 7 innings of work. Zach allowed 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, a wild pitch, and a home run. 108 pitches, lowered his season ERA from 3.89 to 3.82. And if the Met bullpen gets 4 more outs, they'll have won 5 straight starts. Good curveball by Lugo to get to a full count on Real Muto. Lugo making his 39th appearance of the year. He's thrown 79 1/3 innings coming into the 9th, which is a lot for a guy who's pitched mostly in relief. 5 starts, now his 34th relief appearance. And Mickey Callaway and Dave Island have talked a lot over the last few weeks about how to get Lugo and Gazelman through the season, making sure they don't pitch multiple innings too often, don't pitch back-to-back days too often. Curveball lifted into right center field. Angling in his Nimmo. And he puts it away to retire the side. 1-2-3 for Lugo. We go to the ninth. 6-2 New York. So Gary, if Adam performs today and the Mets get a victory, does that means he's got a 1,000 winning percentage? Does that count for anything in terms of his future role in the organization?
Well, SNY.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Our organization. The SNY organization.
We'll have to talk to Kurt about that.
Adam Conley comes out to pitch at the top of the ninth. Well, welcome, Adam. Hope you're enjoying sitting next to the nicest man in show business, Gary Apple. Wouldn't you concur?
Yes, Gary, he's one of the nicest fellows I've run across in my 64 years, almost 65.
And he just had a birthday the other day, you know.
He did.
Gary turned, well, we don't know because he doesn't let us know.
Well, he's not as old as me.
Gary's one of those guys, he could be 25.
Well, no, he's one of those guys that looks like he's 25.
What I mean.
He could be 70.
Well, he could be. It's a mystery.
I mean, he was, a long time ago with ESPN.
Jeff McNeil lines one right at the shortstop, Rojas, for the first down. One out and nobody on now. Wilmer Flores. Wilmer's 1 for 4 tonight. That scored a run in the third, 3 in the sixth, 2 in the eighth. Jerry Blevins, who got a save earlier this week. He and Drew Smith are both up for the Mets. It would be a non-save situation with the Mets carrying a 4-run lead after Lugo worked a perfect 8th inning. Conley, who was a starter for most of his career until this season, now making his 34th appearance out of the bullpen for the Marlins. And Wilmer carves one foul, 1-2. Jose Urena started for Miami, went 5 1/3, allowed 4 runs, 8 hits. Drew Rucinski, 2/3 of an inning, allowed a couple of inherited runners to score, no runs, 1 hit. Arlene Garcia, a perfect inning. Javi Garrett gave up 2 runs and 3 hits in the 8th, and now Conley in the 9th. 87-mile-an-hour fastball, and Wilmer fouls it off. Slider skips in, 2-2. Conley's one of those guys whose stuff has played up moving to the bullpen. Last year as a starter, his average fastball velocity was 89.5. That's hit over the bag. A fair ball for Flores. It'll go to the corner. And Wilmer will get 2 bases out of this. Second hit of the night for Flores, his 20th double of the year.
Wilmer likes that ball middle in. Just that ball had too much plate. He's all over it. Can't do that to Wilmer and be a left-hander. Wilmer put a hurt on you.
So 2 hard hit balls in this inning against Conley. The line out by McNeil. Now a double by Flores, and Conforto fouls one off. Anyway, talking about Conley. Average fastball velocity last year 89.5. Average fastball velocity this year 94.9, up 5.5 miles per hour. Now, you know, you hear about guys' stuff playing up out of the bullpen, but that's crazy. Up 5.5 miles an hour in 1 year. But you look at the numbers, and certainly it appears the Marlins have made the right move, making a reliever out of Conley. Conforto's 1 for 3 and a walk tonight, and he takes a slider just off the plate, 1-2. Conforto drove in the first Met run with a base hit in the 3rd. That's then tacked on 3 in the 6th, and after Rojas's 2-run homer made it 4-2, the Mets got the 2 runs back in the 8th, driven in by Plawecki.
13 hits, and the Mets have kind of jumped on the bullpen here of Miami.
It's 2 straight games now. The Mets have put up good offensive numbers. Conforto takes one just off the plate, 2-2. They had 8 runs, 8 hits on Wednesday, and DeGrom's start, that was a change, a refreshing one. And they have put up 6 runs and 13 hits tonight. 2-2 coming, and Conforto goes down swinging for the second out. Conley's kept feeding him sliders and finally got him to chase one, and that's the second out of the inning.
Chased a bad one here.
So 2 out. Flores still at second. Now Nimmo. In the bottom of the 9th, the Marlins will have Dietrich, Castro, and Prado due up. We'll see whom Mickey Callaway chooses to pitch that 9th. Looks like it might be Blevins. And Nimmo takes a slider off the plate, ball 1. Brandon, after his 3 doubles on Wednesday, has gone 0 for 4 tonight. And there's Jerry, who has been pitching much better of late. And I would have to think that the improvement that Blevins has shown over the last 2 or 3 weeks has got to have some contending teams at least interested in making a waiver deal with Jerry. The deals are still coming fast and furious after the trading deadline. How about the A's and the way they're stacking their bullpen? They got Fernando Rodney yesterday from the Twins to go with Trinan and Familia.
They're all in.
They certainly are, and why not? They've got the second wild card right now, 2.5 over Seattle, and they started the night just 4.5 behind the Yankees for the first wild card. They should be all in. You see that wild card. Yankees are down 10-5 at home against Texas tonight in the 7th. How about the Red Sox? They were down 8-3 to Baltimore. They've rallied to take the lead 11-8 in Baltimore in the 6th inning. That team is relentless. Two and 2 to Nimmo. And he lays off the slider. It's outside, 3-2. You mentioned Matt Carpenter and the Cardinals. Carpenter hit his 32nd tonight and lead Kansas City 5-0 after 4.
I thought he was going away from that lift swing.
Well, he did.
Yeah, so see, you don't need to.
Working better now. Nimmo down on the slider, so Conley with back-to-back strikeouts against the left-hand batters gets himself through the top of the ninth. Blevins coming in, 6-2 New York in the ninth. Finish, and that would be Mr. Blevins on to try and finish things off for New York in the ninth.
Well, as Gary mentioned, Joey is starting to pitch better now. And
6 1/3 consecutive scoreless, including a scoreless inning on Wednesday. Derek Dietrich is hit by the pitch, and that's what he specializes in. 17th time he's been hit this year. That time's it with Nimmo for the National League lead, and it gets him aboard to start the bottom of the ninth.
They've got more than a few guys that get hit by pitches in this lineup. Brian Anderson has 11 hit by pitches, and Realmuto 8. Fastball got away from him.
Dietrich took it off that elbow guard. Mickey Callaway's on his way out to the mound. And with the right-hand hitters Castro and Prado coming in, looks like that may be the only pitch Blevins throws tonight. Reluctantly, he gives Callaway the baseball, and he'll take his exit. Drew Smith will come in, 6-2 in the ninth. We'll be right back. one-pitch outing for Jerry Blevins after he plunks Derek Dietrich, and rookie right-hander Drew Smith comes in to face Starlin Castro.
Last 2 outings for Smith, 3 innings, no runs.
This is now his 7th big league appearance and his highest leverage spot to date, trying to finish the 9th inning. Castro's 0 for 3 tonight, and he pops one up a foul. That'll go out of play. 0-2.
Well, this is what happens this time of year when you're out of it and you've got all this young talent. Throw them in the mix.
Castro hits one right back to Smith, and he throws to McNeil for 1 and on to first for the double play. 1-4-3 double play, and just like that, they're 2 out and nobody on, and the Marlins are down to their final out.
Well, Mattingly is going to check the videotape here.
Make sure McNeil was on the bag. Yep.
So silly.
Dietrich's running off. He's pretty sure he's out.
Little hesitation by Smith, and kind of goosed it. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Got him easily. So 2 out and nobody on. It's left to Martin Prado, who's 1 for 3 tonight. And Smith fires a fastball inside. Not a save situation for Drew Smith, but nonetheless, big spot to come into in the 9th inning, and he immediately handled a double play ball. And behind on Prado, 2-0. Drew Smith, just 24 years old, came over in the Lucas Duda deal with Tampa Bay last summer. And I think, Keith, we will see more and more of this as we move through the final 7 weeks of the year, whether it be Smith or Tyler Batchelor or Jacob Rame. Mets need to see what they've got with these young, hard-throwing relievers.
Well, the thing is, they've got so many guys up from AAA now. I don't know who they can call up from AAA that are still there in September. They're call-ups.
A 4-pitch walk to Prado, and that keeps the game alive for Rafael Ortega. Paul Sewald will stay busy just in case Smith falters. Ortega in his first game as a Marlin has gone 1 for 3, single to center in front of Rojas' 2-run homer in the 7th. Prado not being held on. He'll take second on defensive indifference. To Ortega, and he pops one foul, and now the Marlins are down to their final strength. Oh, 2 from Smith to Ortega, and the curveball in the dirt, stopped by Plawecki. 1-2. Tomorrow night, Corey Oswalt for the Mets, Dan Straley for the Marlins. That game will be on Pix 11 tomorrow night.
Did you bring your Pix shirt?
I did, Keith.
So did I. I did.
Too high to Ortega, 2-2. If Ortega keeps it going, Miguel Rojas would be next.
We'll be in our San Diego Chargers Sky Blues.
There are no San Diego Chargers anymore.
Oh, that's right.
One more John Hadle.
Lance Allworth, Keith Lincoln.
Grounded down to first behind the bag, grabbed by Flores. He races to the bag, gets there first, and the ball game is over. Drew Smith finishes it off. Nice flourish by Flores at the end. The Mets with another big offensive game. 3 hits apiece from Rosario and Jackson. Zach Wheeler wins his 5th straight start. And the Mets have won 2 straight as they beat Miami 6-2.
Well, Wheeler again, another terrific start. 2 runs over 7 innings, 4 hits, only 1 walk. That's been the big key for him. 7 strikeouts. The only blemish was the 2-run home run of Rojas in the bottom of the 7th.